what's going on, everybody? It's meteorologist Tyler Vanjie, and I'm here with
Storm Track 12 meteorologist Les Still.
How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a great first half of your week. We're getting ready to kick things off with Hurricane Erin. Category 2, we're looking at it slowly upgrading into a Category 3 as we move forward. So, Les, you want to take it away with the latest?
Yeah, it's just come over the warmest waters in the western Atlantic Ocean, so as a result, it may be starting to reorganize the low-level center in the core, and it does look like it is going to kick up to at least a Category 3. Don't know if it's going to go much further than that. It is starting to get fairly high in latitude. It's starting to spread out a lot with it here. But because of that spreading, that's what's going to give us the potential tropical storm conditions along our coast.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we're really keeping an eye on this system as it does start to slow down and as it does degrade. What you'll slowly start to see is it broadening out, just like Les mentioned. So that's going to bring a few more of those bands our way. We'll have to watch for some potential spin-ups, especially along the coast. You see that all the time with waterspouts. You think back to Helene, Milton, along the coast of Florida. They created some of those bandings, and you saw some spin-ups. So that's what we'll really be watching as we head through the next 24 to 48 hours.
You're also noticing the pressure now down the 941, so it's starting to re-strengthen again as it gets a little bit more organized. And as a result, you'll see it does go back up to a Category 3. Again, the low-level center is going to be 200, 250 miles off of our coast, but it says that spreads out, that's going to put those bands and those winds on the western periphery, impacting our coastal areas.
Now, just for an update, a lot of people have been asking about rain totals and are we going to see a lot of flooding because of the rain, because we have been talking about the potential for some flooding, but it's not necessarily due to the rainfall. Yes, we are talking with some heavy rain shower activity when we see those bands, but it's not necessarily that we're dealing with the flood potential due to the excessive rainfall.
Yeah, I would say we've got a flood warning in effect for the Neuse River in Kinston, but that's completely separate. That's because of the heavy rainfall we had the last week and a half to 2 weeks draining down through the area. And now when you're talking about coastal flooding, which we've got a coastal flood warning for Carteret County as well as Onslow County, that's because of that storm surge starting to work its way into the area. Could be looking about 2 to 4 feet along the coastal areas here, the ocean side, and maybe as much as 1 to 2 in the sound areas.
Now, as far as the disturbances, I know we have the hurricane that we're dealing with right now, but there are a few more disturbances. Yep. People have been talking about it. What can you tell us about this current disturbance with the 60% chance?
Yeah, this one, it looks like it would be, if it does develop, it's going to stay to the east of it. Hurricanes, especially as powerful as this one was, it was up to a Category 5 at one point. It creates a little bit of shadow not only in the atmosphere, but also in the ocean. So normally waves try to avoid that, and I think what you're seeing is a little bit change in the weather pattern for us here. The upper high ridge that was pushing Erin off to the west, it kind of gets to a point where this is going to be able to slide up behind it, and as a result, if it does develop, I think it's going to be more so out towards Bermuda than us, but again, only about a 60% chance of development. The one behind it, though, that's another one we need to keep our eye on, and that one's fairly low in latitude. That also needs to be tracked.
Yeah, that's right. So over the next 48 hours, you can see on your screen here, 40% chance, and then over the next 7 days, that's when we'll really start to keep an eye on this. But right now, our focus obviously is on Hurricane Erin. Let's get that one out of here,
yes,
and then we'll start focusing on the next one. Now, here's a look going back to what we were talking about for tropical storm force wind potential. So we are outlined here, especially along the coast, and as you move up the outer banks, you can see how that slowly grows tonight in through Thursday morning. So that's when we're really expecting those peak winds to reach that 40, potentially maybe even 50-mile-per-hour wind speeds along the coast of Ocracoke. And that's why we are definitely pushing for you guys to seek those evacuation plans if you haven't already. I think the last one was at 11 a.m. for that.
The ferry out of the island there. But the other thing is, though, is that once you get west of Highway 17, it's going to be kind of breezy and cloudy. Not really a whole lot of action. The real action is along our coastal areas for us here.
And as you can see, guys, on your screen here, even through Friday, so just planning for school purposes, you're living inland, you're still going to feel a wind speed between 15 to 25 miles per hour. It's nothing crazy like they have on the coast there, that 50 mile per hour potential. Also, as we start exceeding 50 miles per hour, that's when we'll start looking for the potential for some damage along your house, and that's just those prone to areas that see the wind damage. So that's something we'll keep an eye on as we head through your Wednesday night through Thursday, still feeling some of the effects even through Friday morning.
Yeah, you can see the tropical storm warning. That is in effect for the sounds as well as the water, not necessarily the land masses around it, although again, right along the coast you could see some peak gusts with that there. Also the storm surge warning in effect for down East Carteret County because of the wind that we're going to be seeing starting to switch around, kind of a northeasterly direction, and then once the storm goes by, it goes northerly, and that's when Ocracoke will need to keep an eye out for maybe some of that sound side flooding. Not talking about a surge like we saw with Dorian, but at least you may see some rises on the sound side later tonight going in through tomorrow.
And just to recap for those who don't remember Dorian, maybe you didn't live here, maybe you're a Marine veteran moving back to the area just like myself. That was back in 2019, so September 6th of 2019, we saw impressive flooding, massive waves, that indentation that we're currently talking about along Highway 12. So that's the reason why we keep harping on this. We've already seen it in the past. That was a Category 2 and September 6th of 2019. So just recapping on Dorian for you guys. Here's a look at the 1 to 2 foot above ground flooding potential. So especially those parks, we see it all the time. Lawson Creek Park, flooding potential there as well. I wouldn't recommend heading to the park for taking the dog out for a walk or something like that as we head through at least the next 48 hours. As we head into Friday, we'll just be dealing with a little bit of a wind event.
And again, we are going to be looking at those potential of some minor bands of rain coming back to the coastal areas here. But again, the main action that we are concerned about is right along the coast with the storm surge flooding. You could be looking at winds waves in excess of 15 to 20 feet from Cape Lookout all the way to Hatteras.
Now here's a look at wave height potential as we head through tonight into tomorrow. That's where we said the primary concern is going to be during high tide. So we are looking around 6 p.m. and then 6 p.m. tonight for high tide, and then heading into tomorrow, I'll show you in just a second, 6 a.m. So 6 p.m. tonight and then 6 a.m. are really going to be times that we have to watch for not only the waves to pick up, but the storm surge as well picking up as this system gets really close to our coast. And you can notice how by Thursday, Friday, we slowly start to see those waves retreating, at least those 9-foot plus wave potentials.
Absolutely, and it's going to be one of those situations here where, we've got already some sand has been eroded over the last 3 or 4 years after the beach renourishment. This very well could take a lot of the dune lines down, and especially a lot of that slope that's on the beach that you get to enjoy, and keeping the high tides out of your beach area. That may go away, especially along the Crystal Coast after the storm.
Now, times may vary here between where you're located. Further north, you're looking closer to 6:19 into Cape Hatteras Island for these high tides. But the numbers on the left side of your screen are really time frames where we want you guys to be checking on the water levels. If you are one that stayed back, make sure you're checking on these water levels around 6:01 p.m., heading through your Thursday morning, 6:19. These are high tides. And that's when we're going to see the most impacts, as those waves are not only at their peak, but also the tides are at their highest point.
Yep, absolutely. And again, we will be seeing those winds switch around for us here. By the time we hit later tomorrow afternoon, and especially by Friday, things will start to calm down a little bit for us here, but we cannot stress it enough. We were talking about dangerous, life-threatening rip current potential along our coast here. In fact, most of the eastern seaboard of the United States. And as a result, even if you're an experienced surfer, most of the lifeguards are advising you stay on the beach.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people out there surfing on the live cameras. You guys are creating our stress levels at an all-time high. I'll just say that. There's been a lot of rescues as well, so just please keep that at an all-time low. Officials are encouraging you guys to just stay away from the beach. It's cool to check out the waves from a distance, but I wouldn't be recommending going in the water anytime soon. At least through Friday into Saturday, we'll slowly see those beach conditions starting to get back to normal. Once again, meteorologist Tyler Vanjie here will continue to bring you guys live updates as we undergo Hurricane Erin and we head through the aftermath Friday into Saturday. We'll have to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely. I'm Storm Check 12 meteorologist Les Dillon. In about 20 minutes, you can join Valentina Wilson and myself on ABC as we'll have a little bit more detail what it's going to be like in your backyard. Until then,
thanks for joining us.